Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. Sorry, my throat is a little dry. I probably should just re-record and start anew, but I'm going to go with this and see how it works out. So, it is very rare that my channel is in sync with the rest of BookTube. I do tag videos occasionally, but I am not sure if I have ever done one on a Tuesday, which is known as Tag Tuesday. And I have done poetry videos here and there, but I don't know how frequently a poetry video of mine has coincided with Poetry Thursday. I believe this one is going to fit the bill. So I thought initially to start out, I would mention a couple of BookTube, or not BookTube, YouTube channels. They are not BookTube channels. YouTube channels that I have discovered pertaining to poetry, largely from an academic standpoint, that I have enjoyed. And I will put some links in the description box so you can go yourself and check them out. So one is Adam Walker, who is a teacher of some sort at Harvard, maybe. And he gives very comprehensive overviews into different periods of English verse. He recently, he is formatting his own canon of verse to use, and he has a very nice video in which he discusses his method of canon formation. I will link that. A more recent discovery of mine has been Timothy E.G. Bartel, I believe. I'm not quite sure on the accent on that last syllable. But he has a site called Knowing Poetry, in which he puts up a video every couple of weeks. And there are a lot of nice features to his channel. The videos are short, and whatever is the topic at hand, he does not do the kind of deep dive that Adam Walker does. He does sort of a quick glance at it. And for example, he has a very nice series sort of overviewing American poetry from its very beginnings to present day. And one video links to the next. I will at least link the first one in the description box, if not all of them. One should lead to the other, and once you get to his site, you will be able to find the rest. Now, I posted one of these videos, I think from the modernist period, on Facebook, and a friend of mine commented, well, he omitted William Carlos Williams and Wallace Stevens. That's not very good. Well, if he were going into the kind of real intensive detail that a literary historian might want, then certainly William Carlos Williams and Wallace Stevens should not be omitted. But that said, I don't believe that his aim has been to cover everything in depth. He wants to give you just a quick overview. So I'm recommending those two channels to you, but it occurs to me all of the time that one is best served in trying to get to know poetry by obtaining a good poetry anthology or two. So I thought I would just show you, I have anthologies upon anthologies, and maybe one day I will do a poetry anthology video, but that is not today. And this is something I just picked out. It's not a poetry anthology at all, but it is something that I picked up for $2, I think over a decade ago at Half Price Books. And I filed it with all of my poetry anthologies, and so that's why I haven't seen it until this day. So I thought I would show you my go-to as a young scholar, to use a fancy word, was the Norton Anthology of Poetry. And I used the shorter editions, and these were the two that I used. I think this might be the first edition. I'm not really sure. It's a bootleg from Taiwan. I bought it at Caves Books, and meaning it's a counterfeit. So if you look at the copyright page, well, I won't bother showing you. And I think that one of the poets omitted in this was Edna St. Vincent Millay, I believe. So you can see I wrote her in the front. And then also, I think some others. Well, I don't know. This might just be her. And I think these are still her. The duller olive on the smooth brow and clustering hair, myrtle and rose, your wreath combine. The duller olive I would wear, its constancy, its peace be mine. That very well could be Walter Savage Landor. I don't have it listed, but I mean this must be a critic. With much ado you fail to tell the requisites for writing well. But what bad writing is you quite have proved by every line you write. So just things that I felt I needed were written in the front and in the back. Let's see what's in the back here. Yeah, this is definitely Landor. So, geez, I should really do this. Well, I'll go into a bit of a poetry reading. So let me come back to this. But this is the revised, so I assume it's the second edition, and I think Millay might have been brought into this one, but I think they may have taken out Claude McKay, which is kind of bizarre. And the third edition, which I think is a very good one, I would highly recommend. But I think it still does not have McKay. So I haven't really looked at these for a long time, and at this point there's no real utility in my doing a side-by-side comparison to see what's in there or what's not. I've never gone further than the third edition, and I don't particularly see a need to do so, because as you go on further, then the number of poets from our day added increases. And that, to me, wow, here's one by Ishmael Reed, which somebody really annotated. Look at that. Amazing. The book otherwise is very clean except for that. And you can often find these, or at least you could find these at a used bookstore easily for a couple of bucks. I would recommend any of these. Now, this is the shorter edition, and I have the third edition of the complete thing, so you can see what it is. Now, this edition is wonderful. It has some of the longer poems, like what's the guy who wrote the Vicar of Wakefield? His long poem about leaving the countryside. I believe that's in here complete. There's Samuel Johnson. He should be right here somewhere. Well, I'm not going to look for it. But this is also highly recommended, but for ease of use, it's less convenient than the shorter one. I believe it includes a lot more of the longer poems, however. Now, I'm not going to say that you are required to get a Norton anthology. I watch booktuber Joshua Crebo, and he swears by this anthology, I believe, the New Oxford Book of English Verse, chosen and edited by Helen Gardner. And I think it's a fine compendium. I have not looked at it for a long time either. So those are just a few that I thought I would show you. And then I think I will just do an impromptu poetry reading of sometime within the last several weeks. I did one of my own poetry, but I think I'll just do a poetry reading of poems that I find at random in one of these books. Well, I've read this. This is by Earl Birney. There are delicacies. There are delicacies in you, like the hearts of watches. There are wheels that turn on the tips of rubies and tiny, intricate locks. I need your help to contrive keys. There is so little time even for the finest of watches. Excuse me, I have some action going on that I have to interrupt. Sorry, we have dog on cat action, which very much needs to be supervised. And since I am making a video, I am not in supervision mode. So this is one by Walter Savage Landor, I'm sure. I don't think I have it up on my channel. And I'm not familiar with it because this is the first time I'm looking at it, probably since shortly after having written it in here. It's called Apology for the Hellenics. None had yet tried to make men speak in English as they would in Greek. In Italy, one chief alone made all the Hellenic realms his own. He was Alfieri, proud to teach in equally harmonious speech. Soon, wondering Romans heard again Brutus, who had been dumb, speak plain. Corneille stepped forth and taught to dance the wigs and furbelows of France. In long-drawn sighs, the soft Racine bestrewed with perfumed flowers the scene. I wish our bard, our soul dramatic, had never overlooked the Attic, though dried the narrow rill whereby the bards of Athens loved to lie. Yet Avon's broader, deeper stream might have brought down some distant dream, nor left for trembling hand like mine to point out forms and feats divine. Children, when they are tired with play, make little figures out of clay, and many a mother then hath smiled at the rare genius of her child. But neither child nor man will reach the godlike power of giving speech. Fantastic forms weak brains invent. Show me Achilles in his tent, and Hector dragged round Troy. Show me where stood and wailed Andromache. Her tears through ages still flow on, still rages Peleus, thy stern son. There's a slight ellipsis in there, so I obviously omitted some parts. I don't know, Andromache, these pronunciations change regardless. I recently got my wrist slapped for pronouncing Cicero instead of Cicero. So that's how that goes. Let me just pick out something else. This is just an impromptu reading, so you get what you get. I'll try not to go with anything. Oh, well, this, I'm sure this is up on my site, but how can you pass on William Cowper? Epitaph on a Hare. Here lies whom hound did ne'er pursue, nor swifter greyhound follow, whose foot ne'er tainted morning dew, nor ear heard huntsman's hollow. Old Tiny, surliest of his kind, who nursed with tender care, and to domestic bounds confined, was still a wild Jack Hare. Though duly from my hand he took his pittance every night, he did it with a jealous look, and when he could, would bite. His diet was of wheaten bread, and milk and oats and straw, thistles or lettuces instead, with sand to scour his maw. On twigs of hawthorn he regaled, on pippin's russet peel, and when his juicy salads failed, sliced carrot pleased him well. A turkey carpet was his lawn, whereon he loved to bound, to skip and gambol like a fawn, and swing his rump around. His frisking was at evening hours, for then he lost his fear, but most before approaching showers, or when a storm drew near. 8 years and 5 round rolling moons he thus saw steal away, dozing out all his idle noons, and every night at play. I kept him for his humor's sake, for he would oft beguile my heart of thoughts that made it ache, and force me to a smile. But now, beneath this walnut shade, he finds his long last home, and waits in snug concealment laid, till gentler puss shall come. He, still more aged, feels the shocks from which no care can save, and partner once of Tiny's box, must soon partake his grave. Shall I do another? Well, I'll read you one that I'm really not familiar with. Lines written during a period of insanity. Hatred and vengeance, my eternal portion, scarce can endure delay of execution. Wait with impatient readiness to seize my soul in a moment. Damned below Judas, more abhorred than he was, who for a few pence sold his holy master. Twice betrayed Jesus me, the last delinquent, deems the profanest. Man disavows, and deity disowns me. Hell might afford my miseries a shelter. Therefore, hell keeps her ever hungry mouths all bolted against me. Hard lot, encompassed with 1,000 daggers, weary, faint, trembling with 1,000 terrors. I'm called, if vanquished, to receive a sentence worse than Abiram's. Him the vindictive rod of angry justice sent quick and howling to the center headlong. I, fed with judgment in a fleshly tomb, am buried above ground. Well, I'll read one more from his book, The Only Hymns, which is probably much more mainstream, so to speak. Light shining out of darkness. God moves in a mysterious way, his wonders to perform. He plants his footsteps in the sea and rides upon the storm. Deep in unfathomable minds of never-failing skill, he treasures up his bright designs and works his sovereign will. Ye fearful saints, fresh courage take. The clouds ye so much dread are big with mercy, and shall break in blessings on your head. Judge not the Lord by feeble sense, but trust him for his grace. Behind a frowning providence, he hides a smiling face. His purposes will ripen fast, unfolding every hour. The bud may have a bitter taste, but sweet will be the flower. Blind unbelief is sure to err and scan his work in vain. God is his own interpreter, and he will make it plain. So, a very strong statement of faith, not quite in league with Epitaph on a Hare, to be sure, or his later poem in this set, The Castaway. But I will not read that one right now. Let me try to pick something out from Helen Gardner. Well, here's one by William Wordsworth, which I don't believe that I know. I don't think I've ever read this. It's titled Personal Talk, and it's a sonnet. I am not one who much or oft delight to season my fireside with personal talk, of friends who live within an easy walk, or neighbors daily, weekly in my sight. And for my chance acquaintance, ladies bright, sons, mothers, maidens withering on the stalk, these all wear out of me like forms with chalk painted on rich men's floors for one feast night. Better than such discourse doth silence long, long barren silence square with my desire, to sit without emotion, hope, or aim, in the loved presence of my cottage fire, and listen to the flapping of the flame, or kettle whispering its faint undersong. Yeah, first time I've ever read that one, so that's new to me. I should go back to it and try to just tease out a little bit better what he is meaning there. I could just close out with something by John Keats. Well, why not just go for the Ode on a Grecian Urn? Thou still unravished bride of quietness, thou foster child of silence and slow time, sylvan historian, who canst thus express a flowery tale more sweetly than our rhyme. What leaf-fringed legend haunts about thy shape, of deities or mortals, or of both, in Tempe or the dales of Arcady? What men or gods are these? What maidens loath? What mad pursuit? What struggle to escape? What pipes and timbrels? What wild ecstasy? Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Therefore, ye soft pipes, play on, not to the sensual ear, but more endeared. Pipe to the spirit ditties of no tone. Fair youth, beneath the trees, thou canst not leave thy song, nor ever can those trees be bare. Bold lover, never, never canst thou kiss, though winning near the goal. Yet do not grieve, she cannot fade, though thou hast not thy bliss. Forever wilt thou love, and she be fair. Ah, happy, happy boughs, that cannot shed your leaves, nor ever bid the spring adieu, and happy melodist, unwearied, forever piping songs forever new. More happy love, more happy, happy love, forever warm and still to be enjoyed, forever panting and forever young, all breathing human passion far above, that leaves a heart high sorrowful and cloyed, a burning forehead and a parching tongue. Who are these coming to the sacrifice? To what green altar, O mysterious priest, leadst thou that heifer lowing at the skies, and all her silken flanks with garlands dressed? What little town by river or seashore, or mountain built with peaceful citadel, is emptied of this folk this pious morn? And little town, thy streets forevermore will silent be, and not a soul to tell why thou art desolate can e'er return. O Attic shape, fair attitude, with breed of marble men and maidens overwrought, with forest branches and the trodden weed, thou silent form dost tease us out of thought, as doth eternity, cold pastoral. When old age shall this generation waste, thou shalt remain in midst of other woe than ours, a friend to man, to whom thou sayest, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all ye know on earth, and all ye need to know. So, why not close out with the best? Thank you for stopping by for my somewhat impromptu poetry reading.